Question 6, the first focus is that you can see that there's a letter called k in front of x squared. That means you need to have extra steps later on. The extra steps will depend on the face of that quadratic graph. We will come to that later. Keyword is the word called negative. Okay, now just ignore the word real values. This is not important. The word real is important only when you see the friend called real roots. Real roots will be case 4. Real values is just not important. Keyword is the word called negative. So number 1, catch the keyword. Number 2, sketch the graph. Number 3, get the discriminant. Now what does negative implies? Negative means that the whole graph is below x-axis. Basically, the graph is in the negative y region. Okay, let me do a sketch. This is the x-axis. So the graph is purely below the x-axis. This is called the negative y-axis region. Should the graph be a happy face or should the graph be a sad face? We're going to use common sense. U-shaped graph basically will grow upwards. N-shaped graph will grow downwards. If you use common sense, the graph must be N-shaped, must be a sad face. For a sad face, it will then be below x-axis, the whole curve below x-axis. So this cannot be a happy face. It must be a sad face. Now, since the graph is below the x-axis, there's no contact point between the curve and the x-axis. Because there's no contact point, I expect the coefficient, I expect the discriminant to be less than 0. One more time, since there is no contact point between the curve and the x-axis, your discriminant must be less than 0. This is your case 3 in your notes. Okay, discriminant must be less than 0. We're going to get the ABC first. You can see right now that your right hand side is not 0, so you cannot get the ABC right now. You're going to shift all the terms to the left hand side first. As of now, I can see 1x squared and 1x. Then you'll be very clear cut what is the A. The A is in front of x squared. The B is the coefficient of x, and the C will just be the constant. The terms without x, they are called C. So you have A, you have B, you have C. Remember, your discriminant is less than 0. Let's do substitution. So B squared minus 4 times A times C. Be careful of the 4 times A times C. You have a triple expansion. To be on the safe side, I'm just going to keep my negative 4 and I'm going to expand just the 2 brackets first. Expand the 2 brackets. 2k squared minus 4k. I'm going to simplify the bracket first. So 2k squared minus 3k minus 2. Further expand out. Negative 8k squared plus 12k plus 8. Negative 8k squared plus 12k. 100 plus 8, 108. The numbers are all even here, so it must be divisible. I'm going to divide by negative 4. Now, personally, I don't like to deal with negative perfect square. I will usually try to make it positive. Okay, so I would like to divide by negative 4 right now. Division by negative 4, 2k squared minus 3k minus 27. Okay, careful because you are dividing by negative number, you have to change the inequality. So inequality is now more than 0. Okay. You can do your factorization or you can press your calculator. Going forward to the technique now. This is quadratic inequality, okay, people? This is quadratic inequality. The technique now is to sketch the graph. This is happy face. So mental calculation, this is -3, you have a 4.5. Question mentioned more than 0. More than 0, check out the portion of the curve above the x-axis. Above x-axis, vertically down, above x-axis, that will correspond to a k on the right hand side. So the answer key, basically the range here, right? Your k less than -3 or your k is more than 4.5. So these two are basically the intermediate answers. They are not the final answers yet. Remember, we expect this question to have extra steps because we can see that there's a k in front of x squared. The extra steps, one more time, depends on the phase. So right now we have a set phase, right? We have a set phase. Set phase implies that the coefficient of x squared is negative. Okay, let's do the proper working right now. Okay, I'm going to put an arrow to write down on the right hand side, right? Okay, proper statement now. Since the graph is n-shaped, basically we know that the coefficient of x squared is less than 0. And the coefficient of x squared is now 1 plus 2k. Solving 1 plus 2k less than 0, k must be less than -half. So this is the extra steps answer. And the main answers will basically be k less than -3 and k more than 4.5. If you look at these two yellow color portion, you can tell actually, without drawing number line, you can tell. You want something for k such that k must be less than -half. So from here you can choose which inequality will satisfy this inequality. You must choose something that is lesser than -half. So you got to choose k less than -3. Choose the one that is less than -half. If you can't tell, then you just have to draw a number line. So number line is not necessary. If you can observe, you don't have to draw your number line. K less than -half. You need the overlapping portion between the blue and the purple. Okay, so that will correspond to the portion that is smaller than -3. So final conclusion, therefore k less than -3. Question 6, the first focus is that you can see that there's a letter called k in front of x squared. That means you need to have extra steps later on.